Why do we put in the effort in romantic relationships, but we wouldn't do that for a friendship? That replacing a partner is easier than replacing a friend.
I could call my friend from the toilet, like it just. Don't put a mic in my hand, expect me to not act different.
So this episode, we are tuning in with our £6.37 mics from TikTok shop.
That I'm in love with. I love these.
Oh my gosh. I ordered them a week ago. I was like, they're only £6. We're gonna see if they
£6 each?
No, like all together.
So £3 for a mic.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Quite cool.
Very, very cool. I was gonna see if I could get exactly what it costs. It was not even £6.50, I don't think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Including delivery?
Including delivery, baby girl.
Nice.
But that is not why we're here today.
It's not.
We're here to talk about friendship funerals. Have you ever walked a friendship to a funeral? Into the cemetery? Dug up a grave? Buried that friendship?
What's happening here?
I walked away.
Okay. Clearly somebody's reliving some moment. Somebody's in the fields.
Or did he take it to the furnace? Burn it to ashes.
Okay, bring it down. Bring it down, huh?
Okay.
Or bring it back up.
I'm sorry.
To be honest, as I was saying in the last video, I never had like a breakup, like friendship or otherwise. I feel with friendship.
No romantic breakups?
No. Who breaking up with me?
Boring.
Sorry.
So you never broke up with somebody?
Of course. But it's not like with flings with insignificant others, does it even count? It's not even we were together in the first place.
Okay.
So bye.
So it's a case where you haven't had real relationships.
Yeah. So this is my first solid real relationship.
All right, I'm gonna tell you the backstory of my life.
Okay. Oh, we're getting personal. Let's hear it.
Now I want to tell fake stories. Gosh, if you didn't say that, I would have told the real stuff. Okay, so I had we call it secondary school. I know in the US y'all call it
high school.
High school.
There we go.
Right. I dated the same guy from like 15
5 years.
16
for ages.
For too long. It got to the point where like I was sat in the headmaster's office for lunch because they thought he was a terrible influence. And I was going to throw my life down the drain behind this guy.
That was so dramatic.
I know.
So
like, who gave them the right?
Nobody.
Were parents involved in that decision? I'd really like to know. I've never asked their mother that. That breakup came on the eve of several happenings. In the sense that...
Several happenings.
So it was discovered that he was talking possibly inappropriately to other people.
Before college,
sixth form, he went to uni and I went to community college. There is where I met my now husband. So that was my first breakup. And it was a pretty difficult one because that's a relationship most of us in high school or in secondary school think. This is the one. This is the high school. This is my baby daddy.
It's a stereotypical
high school sweetheart trope from the movies.
Who broke up with who?
She don't even know.
Or was it like a mutual kind of thing?
I feel it was leaning mutual.
But who initiated the conversation?
Probably me, to be honest. I think it was a scenario where we both felt like we were drifting apart. Like it was getting harder and harder to find time to spend together with our different schedules and different schools. Being interested in other people and being real about that with ourselves and with each other.
That's cool. At least that was healthy. Like y'all were like honest.
It's healthy, yes, but at the same time, your high school sweetheart is no longer your sweetheart. I know you're going flush into the world of heartbreaks.
Oh, but did you break your heart? Was your heart broken? Because
I feel she rebounded. What is crazy?
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
Shut up. What is interesting is that a few months after our breakup, we had like is renege like the word? I don't know what that means actually. I think I've heard that word used in that context, but I don't actually know what that word means.
To go back on a promise, so like renounce. So it was not in the right context.
What?
Renege, to go back on a promise. So like say you say something.
Right. So we said we were no longer going to see each other. So we had a small delay.
Oh, you did renege. Okay, use it correctly. Carry on.
Grammar babes. I can't believe you went to fact check me. God.
I just want to know.
Anyway, so I think that was my first heartbreak, and I think between those couple months of the fallback and the official breakup, it was a weird space to be in because even though we weren't seeing each other as often, there's somebody we're accustomed to talking to every day and sharing certain things with and laughing about certain things, and no, your person is no longer there.
Oh, your person is no longer your person. It was
Like,
not forever.
that's the thing. I feel like he will always somehow be in my life. Like, I just messaged him randomly because there was a house his family used to rent, and I wanted to go back to Barbados and possibly rent that house. And like, we just exchanged that information and then like move on for life. Like,
Yeah.
there's no,
I mean, I guess because you ended on good terms, basically. So there was
yeah,
no hard feelings. There was no,
yeah,
you did this to me and blah blah blah. It was
yeah.
very. I guess that's why it was mutual. Was that your only like breakup?
I think that's the only heartbreak I've had.
Hmm.
I don't think I true like between him and my husband. I don't feel I ever could say that I loved anybody else.
Yeah, that's true because she went from one right into the next. Basically, this girl has never been alone for a majority of her life.
Oh my
Am I
gosh.
wrong?
How could you say that?
No.
We live on the ninth floor, and I'm contemplating getting her from the ninth floor to the ground floor very quickly.
Threats on the good Lord's internet. Threats.
Girl, at the same time, even within my relationship, I'm good by myself. I think being good by yourself is like a
It's very
hallmark, is
yeah.
a calling card for a successful
You
relationship.
have to. You have to be. I'm just teasing you because that's my job. It's literally what it's born for.
I've had several.
He's having one right now, I think.
Don't say that. I don't want a friendship heartbreak right now. It's just sometimes you have to come to terms with the fact that people are growing apart. Those are the
Yeah.
heartbreaks that I think are a little easier because it comes gradually.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had maybe 2 or 3 encounters where something rash happened and it wasn't a gloss over, it wasn't a gradual, it was a blunt,
Ooh,
very clear.
clear cut.
We
like,
ain't friends no
what
more.
you doing?
Growing up, I was very much a tomboy. I was very much into sports. I watched football. I played FIFA. I was doing all the things that the guys around me were doing. They were my friends. And yes, I've had female friends on the side, but the guys were always my go-tos. Like when I was in community college, there was a guys only group and I was in it.
Yeah, she was such a boy. Oof.
So going from the world of male friends to the world of female friends being my main and only go-tos, things got a little dicey. I feel like friendship heartbreaks are worse. So in one occasion, it was a situation where a friend did something to another friend. It was at that point where I had to make the moral decision: can I be friends with somebody that would do this to somebody?
Mm.
So it wasn't even a case where I experienced something firsthand, and I feel like that was even harder
It
than
is.
if I was the firsthand experiencer.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess because then you were like, oh, if you could do it to them, you could do it to me. So you don't actually have to experience it firsthand to know that it's probably not a person you
Yeah,
want to
but at
be
the same time, I think
around.
people are more understandable when you have the first hand experience. They're like, "Well, you picking up arms for this person? Like, she
Mm.
didn't do you nothing." But at the same time, I had to go through that process of is that the sort of person I want in my space? If I had to compare that friendship breakup to the romantic breakup that I mentioned, I honestly feel if I had to pick one that was worse, it would be the friendship breakup.
Fair enough. I feel like friendship breakups are worse. As great as partners can be, I feel like friends, especially when they're there for friends, tend to last longer.
Yeah.
Usually,
And they're
obviously.
more like the integrated relationships.
Yeah, it's like so. Basically, I could call my friend from the toilet. Like
What?
it just we have a different relationship. My friend called me just now to share an address, and I told like we we're in each other's space a lot more than partners, unless like a partner that you've gone really
Like
far.
married.
Can you put a tea bag in it?
I just want water. Is
You
that
just want
weird?
hot water?
Yeah.
No, not really.
I might change my mind.
Fair enough. I thought you were putting in a tea bag after, because then I can't partake in that
You know, I
foolishness.
did read that it's better to put the tea bag in
You said
after.
so,
You
love.
can scorch the leaves and then you're drinking burnt grass.
Are you
I
done?
did it for a bit. It's just it doesn't sink in. The tea bag
Exactly. And I
floats.
want like, anyways, uninfused tea, because that's what it is at that
Ooh, that's
point.
proper hot.
It is boiling hot water.
You're right. Ooh. Why is it
Yeah.
easier to drink it when there's dead tea in it, dead grass in it?
Is it
Gosh,
easy to drink it, or is that just your brain?
maybe it's my brain.
Maybe it's your
Go
brain.
on.
5 minutes later.
Friends tend to last longer than like
Mhm.
relationships, and we tend to put a lot more into friendship, especially the girly friendships. You have that bestie that you tell everything.
Yeah.
Everything. She knows everything about you.
Mhm.
You know everything about her.
Mhm.
You can call each other pretty much anytime. However, so they know all your business. All your business. And those ones, I think that's probably why it would hurt more. Of course, maybe you can compare that to like a husband or a wife, but for you, like people our age, you're probably not married yet. So the romantic relationships you're having are probably not as deep as like a
The
friend that has been
friendships,
there for ages, you know.
decades.
That's probably why that one's gonna hit a lot harder. And I
Yeah.
feel even when you get a heartbreak from a romantic relationship, even if you're, you're brokenhearted for a little while, you kind of get over it quickly. And it's
There,
you find
there's
another man, you find another girl, you
there's
find
no
another partner.
accommodation. There's no accommodations for friendship breakups. So
Yeah.
if you have a romantic breakup, your friends might rally around you, bring you wine and chocolate, and
And talk
watch
about how
movies and
trash that
talk.
partner was.
Yeah, but if you have a friendship breakup, there's no support
Who's
system for
rallying
that.
around you? Who like that friend is
Yeah,
probably the person who used to rally around you and come to your
yeah.
house. So and it's harder to replace as well. I feel like
Oh
friendships
wow, that is true.
are like because
There's
you
a
can't
dating process to replace your romantic partner, but there's no.
there's no process to replace a friendship.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do people make friends?
That's deep, man. No, yeah, she needs to know.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
She needs to know. Help the girl out.
Guys, people who consider yourself my friends, ignore my sister. Okay? I love y'all.
And if you do consider yourself her friend, do better.
No flowers for us.
Do better, guys. Because y'all, from my end, y'all ain't cutting it. Not all of you. Of course, there's some in there that okay, but majority of y'all, I'm talking to y'all. Y'all are not cutting it. Do better.
Okay.
I need more from you.
So have you ever had no romantic breakups and no friendship breakups?
Not really, because fling, first real relationship. And flings don't count because I'm like, who are you to me? Bye. Is it
Okay.
and to be honest, okay, like let's say the first one, because I went not on the streets, and the sidewalk,
She belongs to the streets.
Like for you. Not the sidewalk.
Yeah, I
That's
went
a
the
new
sidewalk.
one.
So yeah, only a few over, my short span of life. It was a summer fling. It was great. We were moving to different countries. I was moving to London. He was moving somewhere else. So it was a natural end to it. We even like messaged each other a bit when we moved to our respective countries. And it just faded naturally because it was never going to be anything more than it was. No hard feelings, like follow each other on Insta, stay in touch. We don't really message because that's not a relationship we had. Second one was a work thing. It was definitely a significant other. Like, when you have no idea what's going on. And when I was leaving the job, I was like, listen, I have no idea what's going on here. I don't know what you want from me. Have a great life, And he was like,
Deuces.
yeah, cool. And that was that. So I never. The next one after that, it was probably closer to like a proper relationship, but like, fundamentally we didn't agree on certain things. And then I was like, there's actually no
We're
point.
wasting our time.
There's no point here to continue.
I told her, you're wasting your time.
She did, and she was correct. And I was like, you know what? You're right. For once in your life, you're correct. And it ended amicably.
You know how many things I could find online if I say like ways to self-soothe after a breakup?
Yeah.
They're not gonna put anything about
even
friendships
after
in there.
situationship, like there are things that people say, like like everybody's in a situationship, everybody's had this experience, but everybody talks about it. So you have, if you say, oh, like this waste man or whatever, you have advice from random people, random articles, random TikTok reels telling you like how they dealt with it and what you can do and how you can get over these things. But there's nothing for friends.
I wonder why that is. Like friendships are so much more integral to our lives as growing human beings, building community. When your community starts to crumble, like again, now that we're talking about it, it's clear that replacing a partner is easier than replacing a friend.
Yeah, and I guess it's more common to replace partners than it is to replace friends. Because that's it. Like most of the friends you've had for time.
Yeah.
Versus a partner that it might be, it might not be on the same level. So I can't think of losing any of the friends I have now. Like I don't even know what that looks like or feels like.
Precisely. And that's one of those situations I didn't think I would have to deal with.
Yeah.
But I've kind of had to deal with it twice. And I think what's hard for me is that it was a case where I had to step back and I was never clear about what happened. But for me, at the same time, because that was kind of what they did to other people, I felt like on principle, they didn't deserve an explanation.
Yeah. When you like fundamentally disagree and then you just drift, you don't have to be like, oh, listen, we're not friends anymore. Don't message me, delete my number. There's no animosity involved. It's just like,
yeah,
you know what? You're probably not a person I trust anymore. And I'm going to pull back and just let that relationship fade. I'm thinking back, and this is like secondary school, high school time. I was probably like 14, 15. I have a group chat of like 6 of us. And we don't talk every day, but we talk every day. Like everybody's say whatever they have to say. Like somebody didn't go to the gym and somebody like random things. They always eating lactose. We're all in different countries. So we're all like spread over. But we've been friends since 11 years old.
Yeah.
sleep over. We know each other's moms, parents, everything, everything. Remember one of the girls. This is probably the only friendship breakup I've ever had, and it didn't even. And one of the girls was like, "Oh, I don't like the way y'all talk." Right? So she said, "Oh, y'all are not like on the same
wavelength."
David tells me I'm gonna have to like call it quits on this friendship and this group and pull out. And we were all like, okay. And the thing is, I feel we were all very, very nonchalant about it. The rest of us, the other 5 of us, and we're nonchalant about it because they're like, okay, she's having a phase, she'll come back. And you know what? She did. She did, babes. I wonder if you remember this, love, if you watch this. We never took it seriously, and I don't think we are even trying to offend her and say like, we weren't deep. It's just that we're like, aren't you need some space?
You'll be back.
Have your space. We'll
You'll
be here
circle
when you come
back.
back. And like it was literally like in, and we probably spoke about it for like 5 minutes after. She was like, "Oh, that was weird." And like, "Oh yeah, it was kind of weird, but she'll be fine." Like, let her whenever she's
She
going
actually
to.
leave the group chat.
She actually left the group chat, and like she stopped hanging out with us like at school. But then she came right back. I think I don't even think it was like a month or two later. Nobody spoke about it. She came back and like, hey, like, how have you been? Like, can I have
like
some
that.
of your macaroni pie? Because she sent me some good macaroni pie. We're like,
I cry out.
are we sharing? Yeah. Are we friends again?
Sometimes there are traits in people that you notice that you ignore, but they grow so huge over time as their personality blossoms, as they get older, as they themselves come into themselves. Those traits take up more and more of their personality till you can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah, and remember we had said like parents always spot a bad friend. Maybe you don't accept it at that age.
It's hard to. But again,
yeah.
Why don't we have
parameters?
Is there a Hinge for friends? Is there a Tinder for friends?
Bumble, you can put it on friends, or you can put it on on like dating.
Bumble.
But you know what's so hard about? Yeah, Bumble. I was on Bumble for a little while for friends because when I moved to London, I was like, I just want some girlies to hang out with.
But what? Look, I googled it, and the first thing they're promoting is romantic relationships.
Because that is the norm. Usually, that's what people are looking for. So I use Bumble, and I feel like a lot of people that I met on Bumble were also like me, who like moved to the city. Maybe they were from England, but they moved to the city. They moved from somewhere and like looking for girlies,
like-minded people,
like-minded to connect to. But why is difficult? Oh my gosh, I haven't messaged any of my Bumble friends for a while. Then you meet people because I feel like friendships over like when you was at school and like from the ones you grew up with, they kind of happen naturally versus the ones like on Bumble, even dating, it doesn't feel as organic. So it feels like we met up and like the 3 of us met up a day and we went like ice skating. It was really, really fun. And then me and one of the girls met up again and we went for like sushi, went for like dinner at a fancy place. Again, really, really fun. And then we just never kept in touch. And it's not like I have an issue with her, she has an issue with me. It's just we just never kept in touch. The natural bonds were just never there. Versus,
is it a case where after a certain age we can't rely on natural bonds anymore? Why do we put in the effort in romantic relationships, but we wouldn't do that for a friendship?
I guess it like society-wise, romantic relationships are at the forefront of everything. You just met on Bumble, and Bumble, although it has ones for friends, the first
that's
thing
why I'm like, I would have never guessed that they had an area for friendship.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Hinge does as well, but it might. It might, because you could say what you're there for and stuff. But 9 times out of 10, everybody wants like they're looking for a romantic relationship.
Gosh, guys, I think we need to look for friends first.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel, but friendships are harder to grow.
Are they? Is it just that we're not approaching them with the same fervor we would a romantic partner?
Maybe you're
even though we've established that a romantic relationship tends to not be as deep or as rooted as a friendship.
Exactly. It could go both ways because romantic relationships tend not to be as deep or as rooted. They have to pass less checks, basically. So for me and those 3 girls, we passed all the checks, but we just were never able to find that thing to keep us going, basically.
Okay.
Even now, I left one job and I have a group chat with the work girlies there. We haven't seen each other in a while, and I would love to meet up like brunch. But sometimes you message, like, oh, let's go to brunch or let's go to dinner here. I was like, oh, I'm busy this day. How about this day? And like even like yesterday, I had a friend over. Today, I'm having another friend over. The 3 of us were supposed to meet up, but one of them was working yesterday, and the other one is working today. So I met one yesterday, and I'm meeting one today. Fair. I made the effort, and we all 3 of us put in the effort, but that was garnered over time. That didn't just happen overnight.
It's kind of difficult at our age to make friends, and I think for me, what I'm now noticing is that I'm going to put the effort I would into, say, if it was dating, into creating some friendships.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe it's about priorities and what's important to you at the time. Because a lot of people, their priority right now at our age is finding that partner,
finding your one true love,
finding somebody they can build a life with, or just finding somebody to have fun, like finding a partner for whatever it is you want them for. That tends to be at the forefront of most people's priority after like job and then maybe after that's settled, because like say you're married and you're sorted on that side, then you start thinking about friends and like, oh, actually I don't have a married couple friends, or I don't have a couple friends I can talk to
Yeah.
about this, because now you're in a space where you are missing that is missing,
Right.
maybe
So
that's it.
I'm here looking at this Reddit,
Reddit, of
and
course.
this person says, how do you cope with a friendship breakup? I created this subreddit just to cope with my grief. And
Oh.
other people join to talk about their sadness or anger. I would like my friend back. I've been trying to stay busy, do more projects, build more Legos, hang out with other friends to keep my mind off things, which has been
Oh,
helpful, but it's not a cure all. Somebody
that's really
says at the
sad.
end of the grief, for me comes relief. That was so cute. No more walking on eggshells so they don't get triggered. No more feeling like all their mistakes are my fault because I didn't help them to avoid committing them. Oof. When I let go of the friendship is when I saw how toxic it had become. I
Mm.
hope and I want the best for them, but I won't be there to see it.
No,
The grief is awful. Oh my gosh, so many
that is
people are
actually really
relating.
sad.
I'm actually
Yeah.
getting teary, guys. I'm starting the process and I'm letting myself feel. I feel angry, sad, guilt. I'm visualizing letting go and wishing her the best. I listen to clips on TikTok on letting go and closing friendships. Oh, maybe I should look at that.
Maybe.
It is not easy. It has been 26 years of a friendship that I decided to cut off because it was hurting me. I was there, but she was in and out superficially and appeared as she wanted to.
Mm.
There's been a
26
lot of
years.
unpacking from our last interaction, realizing she held anger against me. Mean words, demeaning and patronizing language, trying to flip the blame on me or on other things.
But she stuck around for 26 years. That's what I mean.
26
Usually
years.
with a partner, you probably will not have lasted that long. But you tend to give more grace to
Yeah.
friends, because 26 years probably mean they met when they were young, you
Hmm.
know. Even if she's 50, she has to meet at least, somebody do the
Wow.
math.
Oh, on the other side, I was a toxic one that was let go. And I've
Mm.
had to let toxic people go as well. So, as someone from both sides, just know that the door is closed so that others can open.
It's
I
true.
have people in my life who I actually want to be there for, friends that can help me grow in the ways I want and need, friends that don't judge me for who I am.
Oh, see, it is your Amazon package. I
Shut
was
up.
right. But yeah, you see, friendships tend to last way longer than
And
the
they
average
leave
romantic
a
partner. A
bigger
bigger hole,
hole.
yeah, for sure. Because it's like, I'm trying to do other things.
Considering that you actually have sex with your romantic partner, how is it that friendships leave a bigger hole?
Because physical intimacy and intimacy has different forms. So physical intimacy and sexual intimacy, of course, is one thing, but the level of intimacy you have with friends is can be just as deep on another level. I don't know what you call it, but I'm pretty
I
sure it's there.
guess.
And yeah, and you tend to be the same gender, and tend obviously not to be like physically or sexually attracted to each other, because then
Oof.
you're no longer friends. And that probably gives the relationship a lot more honesty about
Mm-hmm.
it, because like at first with a romantic partner, sometimes you tend to do things just because the person, like, and
Yeah.
friendships, you tend not to do that.
Yeah.
Like if you like someone I don't like, that's fine. Like
Mm.
we don't have to get along on those things. You don't have to get along
Agree on
on
everything.
what pillow we
Yeah.
sleeping on, So so it tends to be a lot more honest, I think. And that's probably why
Maybe.
it tends to be a lot deeper, and the connection
Hmm.
tends to be a lot stronger.
Oof. This is another one. Can y'all relate to this? Being used as a therapist constantly.
Mm.
Why do so many people feel so comfortable trauma dumping and using me as a therapist?
Maybe you're a good listener, love.
Not gonna lie, it makes me feel more depressed and miserable. I feel used, worthless, and I've used so much of my empathy, but I feel like I have to protect my own sanity. And
Well,
I've become colder.
mm.
And I used to be more of a people pleaser, but lately I've had to stop.
Well, that's good that that person has grown to stop, because
I can relate to that.
you have to like put up your boundaries, and like if you feel like that's not something you can handle, you have to be like, listen, I really can't take this on.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's not always on the person, because as a friend, I don't mind friends trauma dumping on me. We had this conversation already. But if you do, you have to say something. And if you don't say anything, if you say something and they continue, then okay, now it's on them. But if you just continue to let them and they have no idea how
Yeah.
it makes you feel, that's on you. Like you have to set your boundaries, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to say exactly how you feel about things. Like, listen, I really can't take this on.
Yeah.
I really
Our
can't.
therapy culture episode kind of touched on that, where you feel like you don't have the space. Like I am an extremely empathetic person to the point that I was reading this Reddit and I
And
was tearing
tearing
up
up.
for them. Like again, I exist in extremes, guys.
She does.
I really do. And it is very difficult to be honest about ending a friendship because I feel like the friendship that I'm referring to, like the big breakup friendship that I can think about, maybe should have ended even earlier. Like there are things that happened before that, always, sometimes your spirit does side eye it and your spirit just be like, girl, you saw it, I saw it. What are you gonna do about it?
And then you do
And we
nothing.
don't do nothing.
And that's on you. At some point,
Yeah.
it is on you
At
to
some point, it
take
is on
some sort of
us.
responsibility.
And I think maybe too, because of therapy culture, a lot of us are trying to find ourselves, trying to be more self aware. And sometimes that leads to us maybe not being the best of friends because we're still focused on figuring ourselves out. Maybe that's why at my age I'm finding it so difficult because a lot of people, while they acknowledge that they require self awareness, are still working on it.
True. And now that you don't have space to add another person who might need you
Precisely.
just as much.
I can't. I'm in that space where I would prefer if I had friends that were married because that's a lot different than dating. I know people. Yes, things don't change fundamentally in the relationship, but in terms of what you expect me to share about my relationship, that changes or has to change when you're married. So, for example, like friends telling each other about how sex was or how date night was or how this last quarrel was, like those things change because me and my husband, like let's say we have a quarrel every single day. Imagine if I told my friends about all those quarrels now. Like you know me, everything for both of us is water for ducks back. Like we have such healthy like reconnection things that if I feel like if somebody just saw the argument in out of context,
not really,
it would
because
look.
the only way they're seeing it out of context is because you're describing it to them. So most of the time, friends take what you say.
But sometimes, depending on their situation, like they might take a sentence and run with it, and think that you want this relationship to end or whatever the case is, and you just telling them about another Monday morning.
Again, for me, in my experience, that tends to be how you portray your relationship. If you're saying it and you're saying it casually, like, oh, we had this thing again and I can't even, and then you brush it off, and then be like, oh, well, it's not really a big deal. But if you going on and on about it, then maybe it becomes a thing. So it's really how you portray. I understand what you're saying, but
depends on the listener too.
Exactly. It depends on the listener. Two sides to every coin, So it's like, but even that, we expect friends to understand all the spectrums of that. You expect, so I think you expect a lot more from friends, and that's why when you get them, you kind of tend to hold on to them, and when you lose them, it tends to be
a lot. So healing, guys, we should be talking about healing. Maybe the same pint of ice cream you get for a romantic breakup, because friendships are deeper, double it. Get two, or get a cake and a tub of ice cream.
A nice warm apple pie with ice cream on top. I can eat that right now, just because.
Talk to a therapist. We talk to
therapists.
Talk to
other friends that maybe there's some other friends that you can rely on.
Yeah, hopefully that person wasn't
the only one,
or maybe they weren't the glue and like.
Yeah, you should never have one person for everything because that could be exhausting from both sides.
I guess, but at the same time, a lot of us don't have multiple friends.
At least 2, 3. You don't have
it's
to have
hard to put a number on it.
Yeah, fair enough. But
there might be one person because both people are mature enough that they don't need anybody else.
Fair enough. Yeah,
that's why I said it's kind of hard to put a number. But healing is gonna have to come from us. I don't believe in closure in the sense that sometimes we just have to come to peace with it on our own.
Well, that is closure.
No, closure. I think, trust me, there are people who think closure means I need to tell you my final thoughts. I need to give you the dissertation.
But closure looks different for everybody. Whatever.
Right, and I'm telling you what closure should look like. It's an internal process. It's
but
not.
Sometimes you can give a dissertation, but the thing about doing that is that don't expect a response. If the person doesn't have the capacity,
don't expect them to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Just say what
don't
you
expect them to agree
and leave that.
Don't expect them to write your dissertation back.
I actually learned that from one of my insignificant others, probably like the second one, something like that. Like when I was even in the workplace, yeah, and I was like, yeah, listen, I don't know what you want from me, blah blah, and I guess this whole like long thing, and I ended with like, have a good life, and he just said, okay. And at first, I was really offended. I was like, all that, and all you can say is okay. And I was like, actually, he doesn't owe me anything. Like he literally doesn't owe me anything. So it took me probably like 2 days to get over. But at first, I was offended. But the whole closure thing, I understand what you're saying. It's like if you're doing that, it's for you and not for the other person, and you can't expect anything from them.
Yeah.
You know?
And for me, in these situations where I've had to walk away from friendships without like explaining myself, I always remind myself, if they cared, they would ask.
Yeah, that's true.
If they wanted to know why our friendship looks different or why it doesn't exist anymore, they would ask.
Good point. Good point.
That
Breed and
helped me
blood.
heal.
Let's go. Let's go.
Which inanimate object has the most threatening energy? Can't say knife. That's too easy.
An inanimate object that has the most threatening
A
energy.
fork, bro.
Well, knife and
A
fork.
fork is like 3 baby knives.
Well, if you can't say knife, then you can't say fork. That's too easy.
Okay, fine.
No
A
utensils.
threatening object.
No utensils. Because then we can go into ice pick and we can get into
Speaking of which, why does she have a fork?
why do you have a
We
spatula?
agreed on having matching spatulas.
We didn't agree on that. She wanted matching spatulas.
She thought a fork was so fun.
I like it. You know, I almost want to eat it.
Please don't.
I said almost. I just like it. Anyway, what was the question?
Threatening
Inanimate object.
inanimate objects.
Inanimate.
English, mother. Do you speak it?
Threatening inanimate objects.
I'm looking around.
You can't say utensils?
No, utensils are too easy.
Blenders.
Fair enough. Yeah, a blender
Blenders
could do
are
some
threatening.
damage. But to be honest, anything can do damage if you want it to. I'm thinking cable. Cables just lying around. You can trip over them. You can strangle somebody with them. There's a lot you can do with a cable.
FBI, open up!
And I'm talking like laptop cords, chargers, all of them. And they're around everywhere.
If you had to pick an inanimate object.
Earrings. Earrings could be deadly. Oof.
Have you ever
Anyway,
stepped
in
an
earring?
Yep.
We've
all been there.
It's like, oof. Yeah. I'm going to change it. Earrings. That's my final.
Okay.
My final answer.
Okay. All right. You have to be stuck in a group chat with 3 of your exes. How does it go down? Gosh damn. 2 of them, I think, hate me. Or at least 1 for sure hates me.
Damn. You can't tell me who that is.
That's none of your business. I think it'd be funny, to be honest.
From whose point of view?
My point of view.
Yeah, I was about to say.
From my point of view, I think 3 exes in a group chat together, I think it'd be quite funny.
The group chat is with you, I assume.
I assume so. You have to be stuck in a group chat with 3 of your exes.
I mean,
how does it go down?
I think that's vibes.
I ask them how their lives are. They say, "F you," and I say, "Have a great life. Jesus loves you."
I think.
Oh no! Did I just put 2 things in the same sentence? My bad.
I don't think any of mine would mind, actually. Just do a little catch up, like, hey, like, what's up? How are you? You know? Maybe they want to, like, know about each other.
I'll say compare notes, guys.
Compare notes. if you want to ask me questions, compare notes. I don't mind answering.
I can compare y'all notes if you want me to.
I shall compare notes.
I don't think y'all would like that.
I don't think they'll like that at all.
How will that go for
putting
y'all?
men in uncomfortable spaces, yes. I'm here for that.
I agree.
Absolutely.
For the guys, if you put 3 of your exes in a group chat.
Ooh, how would that go down?
Tell us. Okay, last and certainly not least, you get 1 free slap. Who is it going to and why? Donald Trump.
Nah,
I assume when you say free, I can get away with it. There are no consequences.
Fair enough. That's a good choice. That's
a great choice.
I feel he need more than a slap.
We didn't say how hard the slap was. We didn't say what object was used for the slap.
Ooh, all right. I
was just saying there was no specifics.
All right. Just remember, this is like on public. Everything.
Oh, you're right,
so,
guys. I don't have any personal animosity towards the guy. It's just what he represents.
We're not American, so we don't. Politically, we don't care that much.
Yeah, I pulled my money from the stock market before he tanked it.
1 free slap. I feel like I want to make this personal, you know? I want somebody like, yeah. Actually, I thought of a person, and I'm going to sound real bad.
Tell us.
And the person is one of my bestie's ex. Oof. I would love to slap that man. Oh, yeah.
Slap that man.
I would love to slap that man.
Great.
Yeah.
Who would you slap? Who is your free slapper going to? Is this a slap to knock their socks off? Y'all ever watch those slapping competitions? That is madness. Like, honestly. Have you seen those videos?
No, but I just think of Squid Games. When he slapped people when I just slaps. Child.
The competition, like, it's a sport, bro.
Yeah, that's
You
insanity.
shaking your brain on purpose.
Yeah, and honestly, slapping hurts you to slap.
And I'm sure I always learn, like, if you hit a certain place and like around your temple, like proper, you could die or something.
You can make somebody like pretty like probably put
Knock them
on,
out.
like, yeah, unconscious or something.
Nonsense. Who would you slap though?
I know home slapping.
Tell us. Okay, wrapping up. Do you think friendships,
Which one
friendship
hurts more?
breakup
Like
hurts
friendship
more?
breakups or like romantic breakups? I think we actually agreed today, and ours was
Yeah.
friendships.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Guys, don't forget to subscribe. I know she hates when I say that, but
I feel subscribe if you want. If you made it this far, you could as well. But if you don't want to, that's fine. Like if like don't I don't like the like because if they want to do it, they can do it regardless. We had this conversation already.
if you love me, you will do this.
So needy.
Okay, I was kidding. I was just trying to be dramatic.
I know she was kidding, but
I was being dramatic.
Icky, cringy.
Speaking
Go
of
for it.
emotional dilemmas, where are we off to next? Do you remember what we're talking about next?
Of course not.
We're talking about, it's going to be a dicey one. Can you separate the art from the artist? Should we listen to messy artists?
I'm gonna love this
Girl,
one.
we're not going to talk about him.
I'm gonna love this one.